Today on Monkey Life, it's moving day for young female orangutan Awan, but not before a thorough health check.
Sorry, teeth all right?
Yeah, got nothing troubling me.
Okay, good.
Freshly cut corn on the cob varies the menu for Hananya's chimp group.
Food time's always a very exciting time for them. Yeah, it's just the #1 priority for them a lot of the time.
And squirrel monkey Lopez loses his cool over a frozen lolly treat. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
So far, so good. Nice job. Really nice job.
The park provides a home for more than 260 primates from 24 different species. It's a big day for the park's 12-year-old female orangutan, Awan. She's leaving for a new life in Kent, with the prospect of a mate in Jin, who's also a former Monkey World resident.
Always really mixed emotions. You're really happy that Awan has come on so well and come so far, and is just a beautiful, strong character in Tuan's group now. And then profoundly sad that she's leaving us, but I know it's the right thing to do.
But before Awan can make the journey to Wingham Wildlife Park, near Canterbury, she needs to undergo a health check. Awan was born at the park and has never previously had an anaesthetic, which she'll need for today's examination. To minimise stress, she'll be loaded into her travel crate while sedated. And once awake, she'll be on her way to Kent as soon as the vet has passed her as fit.
We've never had a good look at Awan. We've never knocked her down to do health checks or anything really at the hospital. So it's really important today we get a good chance to look her over and make sure everything's as it should be.
Wildlife vet Rowena Killick, assisted by local vet David Holler, has arrived to perform the health check. Wingham Park's owner, Tony Binskin, and animal director Marcus Wilder have also arrived to observe. While the vets prepare for the checkup at the park's hospital, primate care staff member Donna gives Awan a pre-med to make her drowsy.
That's brilliant, thanks, Donna.
But she also needs a full anaesthetic to make sure she's completely asleep when the vets examine her. It doesn't take long to take effect. As soon as it does, Jeremy brings the travel crate, and with the vets overseeing the process, the orangutan can be moved out of the bedrooms at Tuan's house and transported the short distance to the hospital. Awan is lifted onto the table and intubated, and the vets get straight to work.
Right, let me get some blood.
Rowena takes blood samples to be sent for analysis.
We just do this as a routine measure, and also it gives us a baseline, so if she ever has blood samples in the future, they can be compared to what she was now when she was healthy.
X-rays are taken to check Awan's heart and lungs, and her teeth are examined.
Sorry, teeth all right?
Yeah, got nothing troubling me.
Okay, good.
She's also given a microchip, which is a legal requirement. Finally, Awan is weighed before being placed back into the crate. She's closely monitored by the team until she begins to come around from the anaesthetic.
We don't expect anything to come back abnormal. Awan's completely healthy. Yeah, she was all good.
When she wakes up, Awan isn't in the best of moods.
She's starting to realise she's in the box and about to get angry about it, so it is probably time to say goodbye and get them on the road.
Awan is about to begin the journey to her new life. Primate care staff Rachel and Donna will travel with her to offer reassurance throughout the 200-mile journey to Wingham. They'll stay on and spend a couple of days, helping her settle into her new home before they too will have to say goodbye. Awan is loaded on board. Final farewells always bring a mix of emotions.
Will do.
Right then, Awie, here we go.
I'm really pleased and happy for her as well. It's sad and it's always difficult to let anybody go.
Feeding more than 260 primates every day requires a lot of produce and a lot of planning. Each species and group requires a different diet, and some, such as diabetic chimp Bart, have their own special regime. The 4 chimp groups alone consume more than 150 kilograms of food a week. The park's gardening team grow their own produce specifically for the primates. And there's an abundance of trees and plants that can also be harvested as fresh browse. Monkey World also benefits from donations from the public and the generosity of local farmers. Today, a landowner has given the team access to a field of maize to cut and harvest some of the crop. The chimps in particular love the fibrous stems and fresh corn cobs, and it's now on its way to Hananya's troop of 18.
If we just fed them the exact same things every day, it'd just be so boring. I mean, I love spaghetti bolognese, but I'm sure if I just ate it every single day, I would be fed up of it, and it'd be the exact same with these guys. So we always try and offer them that variation, and then changing how we present it as well. So sometimes we'll throw in loads of whole food and make sure the grass is nice and long in the enclosure to hide it. And the next day we'll chop it up small, put it in little puzzle feeders for them. Food time's always a very exciting time for them. Although occasionally when you walk up to one of the towers here and you have a bucket of celery and they're excited and then you throw it in and then they just stare at you like, why have you done this to me? But they will still eat it. It's very important that they still have their greens. But yeah, they live to eat. Food is just, it's just the #1 priority for them a lot of the time.
Most of Hananya's troop have been together for more than 20 years. In the past, they've been a bit of a dysfunctional family, but these days, although life isn't always harmonious, they're pretty settled. However, they're very much individuals with their own personalities and quirks. These traits often come to the fore at feeding times, and some are quite predictable. Patricia, for example, loves her food and enrichment opportunities. Although not a high-ranking chimp, she still grabs her fair share and more. For Trudy, food is the focus of life. She spends more time than anyone else foraging. Leader Hananya doesn't need to make the same effort. He knows he can get what he wants, when he wants, and eats on the move, rather than hoarding his food. Then there's Johnny. She's a formidable female and grabs as much as she can, because she can. Her position as one of the dominant females has been secure for a number of years, and she has a reputation for being uncompromising in her approach.
The way she's gone about it hasn't been the best way, I'd say, although it has worked for her, but she's not really been one for forming alliances in the group. She doesn't really have a big network of friends around her, keeping her in that high up position. She's just quite a big female, and she just uses the punch first, punch later approach to winning an argument.
Johnny was born at the park in 1999 to Mum Clin and Dad Paddy. Unfortunately, Clin rejected her, so she had to be hand-reared by Jeremy alongside Seamus.
You finished? All you want? That's not bad.
Johnny grew up in the nursery with the help of surrogate mum Sally, and after a bit of toing and froing, settled in Hananya's group, where her rise to top lady was meteoric. But in recent months, her demeanour has changed.
She definitely feels a lot more vulnerable. I don't know where the change is, whether just as she's getting older, she isn't physically the powerhouse she used to be, or whether there is something underlying that we're not catching if the others are kind of clubbing together a lot more and targeting her specifically. But yeah, we are keeping a close eye on it. But yeah, it's strange to see Johnny being a lot more meek than she used to be, because we're just used to just this very robust, big, tough, sometimes quite scary lady.
This morning, not everyone has opted for corn. Tootie has broken off a huge branch of gorse and is dragging it up to one of the platforms where she can get to work stripping the bark. She and Johnny were best friends in the nursery when they were young, but Johnny's rise to the top changed all that. Recently, however, the pair are rekindling their friendship. Perhaps Johnny is beginning to realise she'll need all the friends she can get in the years to come. With the sun shining and the temperature rising, one of the park's smaller primate groups is about to enjoy a cooling sweet treat.
Here we have some frozen juice or monkey ice lollies. It's for the Squirrel Monkeys, Logan, Lopez and Lucille. We're going to put them out in the enclosure. Hopefully they get to them before they completely defrost. There's some nuts and raisins and stuff in the bottom there, so something that might be a bit more interesting for them than just a block of ice.
Squirrel monkeys come from the tropical forests of Central and South America and are well adapted to hot conditions. But the recipients of today's cooling delicacy were probably born in the UK, so keeping them hydrated on warm days is essential. However, Ali's still trying to make them work for it.
These guys are very nimble. They can climb over pretty much everything in this enclosure. There's no real area that's off limits to them. If there's a branch, they'll be able to get to it. So something like this should be pretty easy for them to reach.
The three squirrel monkeys are let out and immediately head over to take a look at the lollies. They're not sure what to make of them. Lopez is first to break the ice. He's the most feisty and gung-ho of the three, and extremely agile on the thin branches and hosing. He manages to break off a piece of lolly with some fruit inside. Ali has also scattered small pieces of frozen fruit in easier-to-reach locations. It's defrosting quickly. The troop are quick to notice and scoop it up. Clever Lopez demonstrates ingenuity to reach the nuts inside a lolly by twisting it over a branch and shortening the rope. But they're still out of reach, and he gives up. The task is on ice for now. The warm sunshine will soon melt the lollies and make the job a whole lot easier for the three squirrel monkeys. At golden-cheeked gibbons Peanut and Pung Yo's outside enclosure, discussions are taking place between Alison and Sean from the primate care team, along with head of maintenance George.
In amongst this little stand, put a couple of planks or some little stop point where she could stop, sit, whatever, and then carry on up to that one.
They're concerned about female Peanut. Last week, she was let outside for the first time in weeks, alongside partner Pung Yo, following outdoor renovation work. But the team immediately spotted there was something unusual about the way Peanut was moving around and brought her back in.
Peanut's been having a few mobility issues that we first noticed when we went to let them back out after the sort of river and the fence line were refurbished over this winter. And when she came out, she's just a bit lame on either her ankle, her knee, or her hip, which sort of relates back potentially to a rumor. And I say rumor because nobody would ever provide me with Peanut's actual medical records from her previous owner.
Peanut arrived at the park in 2000, following the arrest of a tropical bird smuggler. The young gibbon was found at his house in Cambridgeshire, being kept as a pet. Neighbours who regularly saw her outside informed Alison the gibbon may have had a serious fall on one occasion.
As a tiny black youngster, Peanut used to always go and sit up on top of the roof of the house. Indeed, I actually have a photo of her as an infant sat on the roof of the house, because that's their instinct, to go up. And at one point in time, she actually climbed up an electrical pole, got a big shock, dropped to the ground. I'm not sure if she was unconscious or not, but the neighbor had suggested that she was told that she had damaged, broken, injured her hip. I don't know, but it might tie in with the fact she might have a bit of arthritis from an old hip injury. We don't know. We've never had to have Peanut down for any medical situations other than a few cuts and scrapes where we didn't sort of have her all the way up to the hospital.
To make life a bit easier for Peanut, who, like her partner Peng Yo, is now middle-aged, Alison wants George and the team to tweak some of the ropes in the enclosure. They're aiming to provide Peanut with an easier and more straightforward route from the indoors straight up into the trees. And they're keeping her inside until that can be done.
Yeah, it would be good that they have a more direct
Yeah, rather than
path out,
shimmying
I
along
think.
right here.
Might be that in her near future that we do have to check her out just to make sure that there's nothing sinister happening with that hip. It could be that she just had a spill, had a little fall, and is bruised and is going to be fine in the next week or so. But what it's highlighted is that they don't have a good straight path out from the house up into the trees. At the moment, they sort of hop along the fence line in order to get up out into the trees, and it's just more appropriate for them as gibbons if they can come out of the house brachiating and head straight up into the trees. So that's what we're looking at right now.
The team regularly reassess the living arrangements for all the primates at the park, particularly as they age.
We just have to be careful about how high
Too
up
high
you
to-
take
yeah.
it is the problem. So that's the question.
Hopefully, the small changes to this gibbon enclosure will ensure Peanut continues to enjoy the outside as much as ever. Following a 4-hour journey, the team have arrived at Wingham Wildlife Park in Kent. On board, in a travel crate in the back of the vehicle, is one fed-up orangutan.
She wasn't very happy. I think she would prefer not to be in the crate. After probably a couple of hours or so, she did settle down. But yeah, I think she's very ready to get out of the crate now.
So from here, we'll move her through the orangutan building, and there's some double doors there. Move her into the first bedroom.
Wingham's animal director, Marcus Wilder, and an excited team of keepers are keen to move Awan to her new home at the orangutan house as quickly as possible. The wildlife park, near Canterbury, sits in 26 acres and houses more than 200 species, including fish, mammals, reptiles, amphibians and birds. And with the arrival of Awan, they now have 4 Bornean orangutans in their care too. Adult male Belayan is the oldest at 15 years of age. Female Molly is the youngest at 13. And then there's Jin, who's just a few months younger than Belayan. Jin was born at Monkey World in 2009 and moved to Wingham 10 years later.
Jin settled in really well from when he first arrived. Obviously, he's grown a lot since then. Not quite as much as his neighbour. Belayan, he's quite a bit bigger, but he's definitely matured. And I would say he's probably gone from being a really playful orang to being a much more mature and gentle. He's a really gentle boy, so I think a lot of that's Molly's doing.
The plan is for Jin, who was previously partnered with Molly, to be reunited with Awan, and for Molly to join Belayan. The large crate with Awan inside is manoeuvred into one of the bedrooms. She'll have the space to herself while she settles in. There are some interested onlookers.
Just trying to mar the box up to the slide, and then hopefully she can have a bit more space than she's had for the last few hours. She's opening. Come on, Awan. Good girl. Hey, good girl, darling. Hello. Happy to see you.
Awan enjoys her freedom from the crate.
Good girl. Here you go.
She's always been a confident and inquisitive individual with a little bit of mischief thrown in. And she's already trying out the nuts and bolts.
This is both typical orangutan, trying to test everything, and typical Awan. She's very good at dismantling anything she can get her hands on, which is what she's trying to do in her new home.
Wingham's keepers are keen to know all about Awan's character.
Yeah, she loves roly-polying. If there's a slope anywhere, she'll roly-poly down a slope.
She's got a big, huge tunnel that goes over the dinosaur.
Excellent. She loves any kind of bedding, nest building. Yeah, she's going to be fun for you, I think. But, yeah, she's a really good character.
Just down the corridor in another bedroom is male Jin.
Hello.
Rachel's only seen him in photographs since he moved, and he's changed dramatically since then.
Gosh, Jin's grown. He's got his cheek pads, he looks huge now.
Awan is let into the bedroom next door, and the pair can now see each other through the mesh. They were reared together by Jin's mum, Xiao Kuai, but it's been more than 5 years since they've seen one another. It's hard to know if they recognise each other. However, they're certainly very interested and at ease.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot for Awan. She's never done anything on this scale before. We've never had her down before. She's never been in a crate, in a car, in a new environment. So it is a lot for her to take in. And actually, she's really taken it in her stride, so.
Marcus is pleased with how everything has worked out, but doesn't want to push the introductions too far too quickly.
We're probably going to leave them apart for the rest of today, just because obviously it's only a few hours now till we close. So we'd rather have a little bit more time to keep an eye on them tomorrow. But what we're going to do is probably open one of the solid shutters so that we can see, they can see each other. But we'll see whether we open one or both. So we might give a little bit of privacy on by having the top shutter still shut. But it'd be nice if they can see each other overnight.
For the team from Monkey World, all the hard work and planning has paid off.
Yeah, really happy. I mean, looking at Awan now, it's like she's been here for weeks, really. She's so relaxed. Yeah, this morning it was a complete unknown. We didn't know how she was going to hand inject, how she would be under anaesthetic in the crate. There's a lot happening. But yeah, couldn't have wished for it to go any better, really.
Next time on Monkey Life. Female orangutan Awan wakes up in a new home and renews her acquaintance with prospective mate Jin.
I am nervous, I am excited, I just really want it to go well.
And with renovation work finished, the Capuchins make the most of the forest enclosure.